28.8 Rex Legend, 0.21. Again, stock 0.28 Rex Legend. That would be the KX500. And let's say, I don't know, let's just say a badass Testman or OS Adam Drake, whatever the new Adam Drake .21 engine is. That would be the 250 right there. And the 500 KX, that's the 28.8 Rex Legend. .8 Rex Legend OS stock. See the .21 pea shooter, pretty fast. Oh snaps! There goes the 28.8. Here, let's try that again. Badass Drake OS 28.8 Rex Legend. Oh, there it goes. Later. Ready? 28.8 Rex Legend. See? Oh, see, .21s are pretty fast. Not saying that, but compared to a big block, come on, man. I'm not even talking modified. I'm talking stock. At the end of the day, it's still a 250 and it's a 500. It's twice the bike. .21, .288. Oh, later. See ya. Come on, man. For 500. I rode them both. Here, let's try that again. In case you're not sure. Oh, battery. Oops. Ready? 28.8 versus a .21. Come on, man. Really? He's like, you want some more of this? Come on, man. The 500 is it's gone later. Not even close, man. Okay, so what's up, Nitro Nation? Muggy Maniac is just, man, I always say there's nothing like the smell, feel, or sound of a two-stroke, of a nitro. But come on, let's face it. There is nothing, really nothing, that smells or sounds or feels like a 250cc 2-stroke or a 500. Okay, now I just wanted to share that with you guys because, you know, I mean, here, I'm going to read something to you guys. Well, you know what, I'll read this at the end. Let me read this one thing. This is by one of my subscribers. Every dislike is another lie they made up about you. Shout out to True Mo. The guy's a pretty cool guy. He's been a subscriber of mine for a while. And always has something positive to say, you know. But anyway, back to what I was talking about before we give shout outs and first of all, welcome everybody to another segment of the Muggy Rant and Rave. Well, we're not going to so much rant and rave. Maybe a little bit, okay? I've just been watching, or not watching, but listening for the last few days. I just really got buried in, it's called No Name Podcast. Look it up. It's by Jake, the guy that runs it. His name's, I forgot his real name, but they call him Lefty. I think he's got one arm. He works for JQ, which if you guys don't know or know, JQ Racing. Some of you guys are familiar with their cars. Some of you guys have heard of him. Some of you guys haven't. He's a guy from Finland. Guy's a full-on, you think I'm bad? That guy's, excuse my language, but he is a real ass. Okay, that guy is, I mean, it's funny because JQ reminds me a lot, he's a lot like me. When somebody brought this guy to my attention, one of my Nitro brothers, he said, you got to listen to this podcast. I listen to it all the time. And I've just never been a podcast guy. I've never been a, you know, one of those, you know, a forum guys. And I think that's just, it's, you know, there's enough. I got enough to deal with running my channel, the drama that goes on, well, that has been going on, that I'm trying to steer away from, without going on any forum. I mean, I know the Nitro Nerds got caught up in the forum. I think that's where he had his first beefs with Jam Racer 1 and Olds whatever and these other guys that he, you know, that he tried to, you know, kind of marshal these guys. And that's kind of how it starts, you know, people, and I've done it too, so I've been guilty of it. I'm not innocent to any of this stuff. I'm not proud to admit it, but, you know, you do get caught up in the moment of all this, and that's what I've been trying to steer away from, and just get back to the roots of what I started this channel for, which is to teach people. Okay, there's a few things that I kind of want to correct, and a lot that I have to talk about. We're probably going to burn about an hour here, so I recommend pull up a chair, grab a soda, whatever you drink, cup of coffee, grab some popcorn, or, you know, maybe you want to put the babies or the kids to bed. Make sure that, you know, you're down in your cave or whatever. This is going to be an hour-long muggy video of, you know, that you can wrench to. But anyway, you know, I listened to this guy JQ, and he's a lot like me, man. The guy is he's really arrogant, and I don't, you know, I've heard people say, you know, arrogance, it's not arrogance, it's confidence, and whatever you want to say. I mean, I just, maybe I do sound arrogant, maybe I do, but I'm not arrogant at all. I'm very, very humble. All of this stuff that I have, all this money that I spent, yes, I try to, you know, to each his own, and, you know, to whatever your personal preferences, what makes you happy. I just choose because I've had different types, and I've learned, you know, over the last, you know, 6 years of just being on YouTube. I'm just talking about Nitro on YouTube. I've been in Nitro for about 4 off and on, prior to even any YouTube. Okay, only 6 on YouTube, but not total in Nitro. Okay, give or take you know, a year or so. But anyway, I've learned, you know, that and I was taught early on that, you know, Nitro doesn't have to be expensive, but the cheaper that you go, and you know, hey, I understand you can only afford what you can afford, but don't think for 1 second, you know, that you're not going to create more headaches. So the whole, you know, what I'm trying to get at is the more money you spend, the better quality of whips, the better quality of electronics and radios and batteries and tires and engines and pipes, etc., 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 the less headaches that you're going to have. You're already going to deal with enough ups and downs and things that you're going to go through in Nitro as it is. So by getting the better quality stuff and spending a little bit of the extra money when maybe you don't want to. And trust me, I can be one of the tightest. Some people say, "Man, you're tighter than." I mean, you couldn't get a needle at my butt with a jackhammer. I have been like that. But then being like that in nitro, I ended up paying for it even more or spending more money in the long run once I could have just spent the money. I can give you tons of examples, and I don't want to take up a bunch of time of, all those things. I want to get into, we're going to talk about the next phase of building. I'm gonna show you some more pictures and some more, give you guys some more leads if you guys are looking for a first, a decent quality race kit or a decent quality platform. You can get RTRs like the only RTR that I would recommend that you can actually get for pretty cheap is an OFNA. Okay. Now, credit due where credit's due. I know I've been critical of it because of certain people, but, I've never said that it was a bad vehicle. It's probably, if not one of the best RTR buggies ever built, ever designed. But at the end of the day, it's still an RTR. It's not a race kit. It wasn't designed to race. It doesn't have the DNA and has never had really the DNA to win world titles. Not like Mugans and Technos and KO shows and Hot Bodies and low season associated and so forth. Okay, but for an RTR, it's a great whip, good for beginner whip. But you can also get, like I said, the Mugans, and you can find some older KO shows and race kits that were designed with and that have the DNA to win to race. So you could do both. Now, could you race an OFNA? I don't know these days, unless everybody else is racing them on the track. I grant it, even if you're a great driver and people have said, oh, Adam Drake can drive an OFNA. First of all, I don't think he ever would drive an OFNA because he wouldn't want to, he would probably be too embarrassed. Not there's anything wrong with OFNAs, just, he's driving, that would be like driving a Ferrari for how long, with him and Mugen, and then driving a Toyota, Tercel or whatever. Am I saying that an OFNA is a Toyota Tercel? No, I'm just giving an example. You know what I'm saying? Or it'd be like be driving a Ferrari and then, you jump in a Camry. Camry's pretty good, right? Decent, right? The new Camrys, like I said in my last video, they're pretty nice looking rice burners, okay? They redesigned them and everything. But anyway, compared to Ferrari, not even in the same ballpark, not even the same planet. So anyway, we're going to get into that, and I'm going to touch more on the used motors. I bought plenty of new engines, okay? Those are a handful of engines that I bought new, and I bought a lot of used engines too. And there's certain things you got to look for, certain questions you got to ask, certain things you want to know before you just pull the trigger on, spending $100, $150, whatever, even if you get a cheap used engine. Okay, so we're going to get into that. But anyway, I watched this no-name podcast, and JQ, man, this guy, he just talks so much trash. But he is very intelligent. He knows what he's talking about. I mean, the guy has built his own race car, even though it's not big, like some of the main manufacturers, but still, he built it on his own. That's pretty cool. I've seen the JQ Blacks and the Whites and all that, a couple buddies of mine have them, and, they're not bad. You know what I mean? They're just unknown, okay? And I showed you that one that's on eBay. You can look for it. It's like $200, and it comes with a P5 Nova Rossi engine in it, electronics, everything. I mean, it's got tons of goodies with it. That's just an example of a used whip that you can get for cheap. But anyway, I listened to his podcast, and the one thing they always say is nitro is the glory, but e-buggy pays the bills. And that is so true. Because just everybody is so into eword because it's so easy. Anybody can do it. Not anybody can tune a nitro engine. Not anybody can maintain it and keep it running. So I had a few comments, and people will argue this all the time, that a .21, and I've got badass .21s. I've had Reds, I've had OS, I've got, you know, various Novorossi .21s. And 21s are badass little engines. But compared to a big block, compared to something like this, and I'm not even talking modded. Yes, both of these Novorossis, which, as you guys know, are my favorite engines, they're both modded. But even the reason I showed you that video, that was a KX, I think it was like a 94 or 95, KX 500, Kawasaki, drag racing, numerous times, a CR250. And the CR250 would be the equivalent of a stock .21. I don't care if it's a Reds, which are badass, obviously. I don't care if it's an OS Drake or a Ty Testament, which are also badass. I don't care, you know, if you're talking about, you know, one of these badass Virtus, okay, .21s. I mean, I don't care, you know, if it's one of these badass P5s, you know, or the soon-to-be badasser once I get it modded, Elite 5. This is a badass little motor too. It's still, compared to a stock LRP .32, or even a stock 28.8 Rex Legend, that's like comparing a CR250 to a 500. Yes, they're quick. Yes, they're fast, as you've seen. That CR got it a few times off the line. But after the first 20, 30 feet or whatever, midway through, that 500 is going to walk away. Okay? A guy said, oh, yeah, I'd like to see what a, you know, even a stock. Let me clear the air. I have them, and I ran them both. Baddest 21s out there, stock and modded, and 28s and 32s, stock and modded. And no way in hell, well, I don't care what, will a .21 spank in a drag race, let's say 200 feet, whatever, a Novorossi 28.8 Rex Legend stock. Never. Never, never, never. How do I know? Because I have them, and I've ran them both. Okay? So, for the record, it's funny how people like to, and I don't want to get into the ranting thing, but, you know, I got to say this, you know, it's funny how people will talk out their ass, and they don't even own a 28. Okay? So for all you guys or girl or whoever, all you people out there, if you don't own anything bigger than a 21, then you don't know what the hell you're talking about. I suggest you go buy a .28 Rex Legend, okay? Buy any .28. You can, I mean, not anyone. I buy a 28.8 Rex Legend. Or find a Pico 28. Okay, quality 28. And run that thing stock. You don't even have to get it modded. And then come talk to me and tell me, oh yeah, my OS or my Reds or you know, my Novorossi P5 or my Novorossi, you know, even that Virtus. That Virtus right there is probably bone stock out of the box, one of the baddest .21s that I've ever run. And the Reds is right there too. Those two engines. Okay? And you've seen me take that Virtus apart. Okay? It's pretty badass. Okay? So, and I've ran stock 28s. Okay, P3, Pico, 28s. I've ran stock .32s. And there is no way in hell that any .21 is going to spank a 28. Unless you don't know how to drive, you don't know how to set up the clutch. I mean, you'd have to be pretty lame to get blown away by a .21. I guarantee you. Okay, so, but like I said, it's funny how people that make those comments, they don't even own them. Goes back to what I talked to in the past. People would make comments about the Losi 5B buggy, fifth scale, saying that, you know, it's, it overheats. And I remember talking to my good friend Elite RC, and he would get pissed because he goes, these guys are talking about the Elite 5, the 5B overheating and stuff, and all it was is you just got to make sure that you cut out the body right. And it didn't have overheating issues. And these are people saying this. They didn't even own a 5B. So again, If you don't own a .28, quality. I'm not talking just some crappy .28. And a .28 sealed back engine. Not a rotostart, not a pull start, not some alpha, not some go engine, not some generic whatever. A 28.8 Rex Legend, besides that Pico .28, I ran them both, is the baddest .28 made. It's the only 8-port also. Don't forget that. A Boost is not an 8-port. The P3s are not an 8-port. Okay. Not even the 32 is an 8. It's a 7-port. Actually, it's really a 5. They count the exhaust, which doesn't count. But you know, and I remember I was talking to Lance. Shout out, by the way, to Lance, RC Renew, #1 modifier on the planet. And I can say that with confidence. Why? Because I own a modded 28.8 Rex Legend. Okay, RC Renew. I've been saying RC Renew modded 28.8 Rex Legend. I own that one, obviously, and I own this one, RB modded. See the name right there? Rick Brake. He modded this 28. I own an RB modded 28 Rex Legend, and I own a RCR modded. And I can tell you, personally, because I ran them both, they're both drag mods. This one spanks this one's ass. Okay, this is a good motor. It's a good engine, and I'm happy with it. Okay, but this 28 is a different. It's a whole nother level beyond that, and it's the same motor. Just the mod is different because the RCR, in my opinion, does better modding. Okay, so anyway, I can say that because I own both. If you own both of them and if you ran both of them, you would say the same thing. And if you haven't, then zip it. You can't say anything. My suggestion, go get one modded by Rick. Go get one modded by Lance, like I did, and run them. And then come talk to me. Okay? And those of you that have done the legwork and have both the engines and have ran them both, well, you already know the answer to that. Okay? So anyway, to get back to what we're talking about, 28.8 Rex Legend, I asked Lance, a modded 28.8 Rex modded and a modded LRP 32. I said, on the dyno, what's the power difference? And he's dragged them both. He said the 28.8 Rex Legend, okay, he said the LRP .32 will get the 28.8 off the line and mid. He said, but after that, probably maybe 30, 40 feet, whatever, the 28.8 Rex Legend will walk away from the 32. So that 28.8 doesn't have as much mid and bottom as the LRP 32, but top end, what did I say? Okay, the LRP .32 has more bottom and mid than the 28.8 Rex Legend, stock or modded. Okay, but the 28.8 Rex Legend, stock or modded, has more top end. So if you're a top end guy, that's your engine. But I ran them both, and I think the 28.8 just across the board is the badder asser engine. Plus, it's way better quality, obviously, than the LRP Chinaman over there, made in Taiwan. And that one will last way longer than this engine. So anyway, we may run that one of these days later. I've shelved it, and you know it is what it is. But anyway, yeah. So a .21, and I've got them modded 21. Even my modded Reds, okay, R5 Team Edition, which is badass. Okay, that's a badass engine. Okay, modded. Compared to my 28.8 Rex Legend, modded, not even close, and they're both Italian, okay? So, anyway, like I said, people like to talk out their ass, and they don't even own a .28. So, until you own a .28 Rex Legend, stock or modded, come talk to me. And if you don't own one modded, well, I suggest you get one modded. You know, send it to Rick, send it to Lance, whatever you want. That's your preference. I would get both of them. I would get one modded by each and do your own comparisons. I mean, that's what I did. And I can tell you that that's why I deal with Lance now. But anyway, so enough about that. Like I said, at the end of the day, it's still a .21. Doesn't matter what you did with it. Doesn't matter how badass it is, you know. And I'm not saying that .21s aren't badass. They're badass, and I have a few .21s. I've got more 21s than I do big blocks. Okay, but compared to a 28.8 Rex Light, it's not even close, man. These engines are badder asser. Okay? This one, man, like I said, and when I ran it last time, the 41032 does produce more power with this 2148 Triton. Now, I know one of my subscribers, I think he's a subscriber, I'm not sure. Anyway, somebody made a comment about the dual Venturis. Triton makes a dual Venturi. It's a Venturi that's got 2 chambers in it. I'm doing research on it right now because I've never ran them. I talked to Lance about them. He said they're more for racing. Although it does benefit, I know he said it benefits on more fuel, the better fuel mileage. He said, but you know, it's more for racing. But we'll get into that at another time. So about the JQ thing, you know, and JQ, this guy, he's very knowledgeable. He's the one that came up with that invisible power. How the clutch is one of the things that's the most forgotten, that people forget when you're tuning an engine. Okay, this clutch is so important, man. The springs, you know, the shoes. And let me clarify something. When I was talking about bearings, replacing them I replace them accordingly. You know, I want to correct myself on that. You don't need to replace your bearings every time you run. Although, like I said, again, unless you run modded motors, you have no idea. These engines, I was talking to Lance, and I asked him, and I asked a few guys that, you know, that I know in the industry. And dyno-wise, when you get a modded engine, you are increasing the RPMs on any engine, whatever, it's a 21, 28, 30, whatever, you are increasing it around let's just say 4,000 RPMs. Okay? So that means you're putting 4,000 more RPMs on everything in your whip. Your drivetrain, your gears, your diffs, everything that drives this thing. Okay? Now think about that for a second. Okay? You're putting 4,000 more RPMs on this. Okay? That's a lot, man. So, the reason I said on my bearings, you know, because the bearings aren't expensive. You know, they're, you know, I've got bearings to where I'm roughly probably changing them. I've got decent bearings where I can get about a gallon. A gallon of fuel is decent, and then I'll change them. But it all depends. Now, on bone stock 21s, you can get bearings that last forever because it's a 21, man. Come on. You're not pushing the RPMs that you are of a big block or of modded engines. Now, let me do a disclaimer here, because when I talk about a lot of the stuff that I talk about on my channel, I'm referring a lot to modified. Okay, so it might not pertain to a lot of you guys, because a lot of people don't run modified engines. Matter of fact, I guarantee you that 90% of you that do nitro out there, that even watch me, okay, even own anything bigger than a 21. And even less, I'd say 5% maybe, run modified engines. I don't see very many people running any modified engines. Okay? Besides me and maybe one or two other guys, I don't see, nobody's running modified engines. Not even pea shooters, not even 21s. So when I'm referring to a lot of the things I refer to on my channel, I'm talking about modded engines. Now, we'll get into that later. I want to kind of touch on and maybe do a video. The preparation that you want to prepare your whip for when you put a modded engine in. It's not just like, I mean, it's one thing when you go from a .21 to a .28, even stock. But it's a whole different level when you start putting modded engines and stuff. Diffs, you know, just, you gotta tighten up everything. I mean, these 28.8 Rex Legends vibrate everything loose, man. I mean everything. I'm Loctiting stuff that goes into plastic. I don't even care. Okay, so we talked about last time. So I just want to kind of clarify that, because a lot of people will say, "Oh, whoa, what are you talking about? You change your bearings, blah blah blah. You shouldn't have to change." Well, are you running a 28.8 modified engine? Okay, no, okay, well, that's why your bearings last forever. If you get an OS, brand new OS, Drake, a brand new red, say Scuderia, whatever, you know, a P5, you know, a Virtus, whatever, .21, badass little .21, with the decent bearings, they're going to last for a long time. Guarantee you, take that engine, go get it modded. Like I said, you're adding 4,000 more RPMs to it. Yeah, you see how long your bearings last then. Okay? I'm speaking from experience. That's why I said it's funny that people will say, "Oh, well, bearings, my bearings last forever." Well, what are you running? Oh, you're running a 21 stock? Well, that's why. Of course your bearings will last forever. Okay, I'm hardly running 21 stocks. Have I? Yes, but I have them. But, you know, again, stock engines, they really don't do nothing for me, man. Not even a modified .21, and I have those too. Don't do a lot for me. I need modded big blocks, man. That's why I'm so much on Lance all the time, man. And me and him, whenever I talk to him, man, he's still, you know, got to go over it on paper, and it's got to make, if it doesn't make dollars, you know that expression, it doesn't make sense. And I told him, I said, "Listen, Lance, if you come out with a .32 8-port Triton, okay, oh my gosh, can you guys imagine that? Those of you that are familiar with Triton engines, can you imagine an Italian Triton, which is where the engines that Lance designs and makes that have his name on it, the Triton engines, okay? Can you imagine a .32 8-port one of those? Pfft, come on, man, that makes me like sport wood right there. That would be the ultimate. I told him, dude, I'd buy I don't care if they were $400, $500. That I would pay $500 for. Remember I said in my past videos I would never pay more than $300 for any pea-shooter .21, and I still haven't, and I never will. Okay? But a .32 Italian 8-port engine? Oh, hell yeah. I'd pay $500 for that in a heartbeat. I'd give me a few of them. Alright, so enough of the ranting by the muggy. Let's get into this segment of building a budget RC. Now, I get people also that ask me about batteries. So let's touch on engines and let's touch on batteries. Now, I run Life batteries. There's a few different kind. The ones that I prefer are the, like if you have a Techno, the ProTech, these here, 1800 milliamp Life battery, 6.6, 2-cell, okay? These are about 30 bucks. Okay, I don't even know where the box is, but I also run the Reedy. Reedy makes 1600 Life battery. They're about $8 cheaper, like $20, $22, $23. That's what I run on my my Mugans. Okay, that's what's in here. These are plenty. Now, somebody also asked me, well, how do you know? I balance and charge my batteries every time I run them. Like right now, I can check this. Here, where's my my checker thing? I check them, and whenever they need to be, where in the heck is my, oh, whenever they need, I don't drain them every time I run them. Let me set you guys over here for a second. Okay, see that right there. These are like 13, 14, they're cheap, man. I suggest that you, if you don't have one, buy one. Different companies make them, okay? It's a capacity controller. That way you can plug your battery in before I run it, like this one here. Okay. Life. See this? It's got 60% right now. So I could actually run this. Now, how do you know how long it's going to last? Well, except for the FlySky FS GT3B, most decent radios, like the IT4S, you can get them for like, I think you can get them like 120 bucks now. They're pretty cheap. They have a sensor on them. Okay, turn this one on. I like that feature. They have a sensor on it, so as soon as you, like if the battery gets low, it'll start beeping. It'll make a beeping noise. It'll tell you that it's getting low. Okay, or if you lose power, it'll tell you, it'll beep. Same thing with, like when you turn it off. Same thing with the Sanwa. I know the Sanwa, this Sanwa here, the MT4, this too has the same type of sensor. Okay, so as soon as the battery goes low, or it senses it's getting too low, it'll start going beep, beep, beep. It'll start beeping. So if you don't have a controller that does that, I suggest you get it, because that's really the only way to tell when your battery runs low. I just prefer life batteries because they're going to last longer than a normal nickel hydrate or whatever. So, whatever you can afford, but, if that's important to you, which it should be, because runaways suck ass, okay? No worse feeling in your gut and feeling of just sickness when your whip runs away. And you guys know I've had plenty of them do that. That's why I don't run switches. I run my stuff directly from my receiver to my battery, and I never had an issue. Now, do I recommend that with life batteries? I don't know, because I don't run life batteries. I've heard guys have issues when they do that with life batteries. But, not with life batteries, but LiPos. But life batteries, I never had an issue with them. So anyway, I recommend, check out A-Main, check out, eBay, look up Reedy 1600 milliamp life battery. They're like 20-something bucks. The better ones are the Protex. They're a little bit more ampage. They're 1800 milliamps, and they're going to be about $8 more. So, whatever your budget can afford. Do not run 4AA batteries that you're asking for a runaway. So these are some of the servos. I'm doing some servo swapping. I'm putting a brand new 100T. This is the radio tray from the MBX7, as you guys can see. Now another thing, another guy asked me, well, I don't tear it down every time. Well, it depends. I don't always tear my whip down completely every time. This time it was pretty dirty. I ran it pretty hard. We didn't, like I said, we didn't jump it off buildings. We didn't, boomerang it off a tree. We didn't do anything crazy. I had fun. I'm gonna work on that jump and that one spot that I ran it last time. I'm gonna see if I can get some more running. We're just gonna try to pitch a backflip. Might as well, since that thing goes vertical anyway. But whatever. I suggest at least every 3 to 4 times that you run it, depending on how dirty it gets, then I do recommend tearing it down all the way. But it's up to you. Like I said, if you don't want to tear down your vehicle, you don't have to tear it down. Clean it to the best you can, but don't expect your stuff to last. I spend too much money on these things and invested too much time, this took me 2 days to completely tear it down and put it. Now, I didn't tear the discs apart. And I didn't take the shocks apart because they were fine. Okay. Did I re-grease the diffs? The gearboxes? Yes. Front and rear. The cool thing about the plus and the negative about Mugens versus Technos. Mugens, when you pull the front or the rear clip off, the bottom, because it has an indentation in the chassis, the bottom of the diffs are open. So you can clean them out almost without taking them completely apart, and re-grease the gears in the box, okay, without splitting them apart. The bad part about that is that I don't like is sometimes the dirt gets up in there. You know, that's why you got to make sure that it's tight on it. Technos, the bad part about the Techno is it doesn't have that. So if you even want to re-grease your diffs on your Techno, front and or the rear box, you got to pull them completely apart. But the great thing about them being sealed is, well, they don't get as much debris and dirt and all that in there. The Mugens don't really get a lot in there, but they do get some dirt in there. But anyway, it's clean, it's fresh, like money. Man, if you got a Mugen NBX7 truggy or buggy, and your drivetrain isn't like that, well, you need to rebuild that thing, because this thing is money. This thing is just as smooth, maybe, just maybe, even smoother than my Techno. And my Techno's pretty buttery, man. Techno is pretty fresh. So anyway, we are going to rock the next time. This one won't be the next thing running. The next thing running, like I said, will be the Mugen NBX5 with the OFNA Hyper 21 being fired up. It's brought out of retirement for the first time in probably, geez, at least 3 years, maybe more, since I ran it. After we run that, I want to run this. I'm still trying to see if I can get a center diff for this. I still haven't taken this thing completely down. That's the next thing I'm going to get on, because this thing is ready to rock and roll. So it's just, you know, getting to this weekend, finding some time, and we're going to fire this up. This thing is good to go. I might put an engine in it, might not. I might run the RB modded engine in this 28.8 Rex Legend. You know, just to show you guys. We ran the 28.8 modded Rex Legend RCR. We're going to run the modded, RB modded in here, so you guys can see. Same engine, different modder, same width, same setup, okay, in here. Techno, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to run that for a minute. You know, I only get the weekends now, barely. So anyway, we talked about servos. The good thing I like about Savox, even though I've had issues with them, is they're always good about... I sent one back, and I guess because I'm always sending them servos back, they gave me an extra one. They gave me 2, which is pretty cool. And actually, I'm sending them 1 more, and they said they're going to send me 2 more. So I'll have 4 of these, and these are good servos. The last one that burned out, which is this one, is because I ran a 7.4 LiPo. These aren't high voltage, so I do not recommend running 7.4 bolts on them. But other than that, these SCO254MGs are pretty durable. It's a good, reliable servo. It's probably, for 30 bucks, one of the most reliable budget servos that I've ever used. Although the GX ones are pretty decent too. Just don't get the GXs that are like $16, $17, $18. You're going to have to spend around 30 to 40 bucks on the JXs to get decent ones. These are DC 6015s. I don't know if these ones, I forgot how much these were. I think these might have been like about the same price as the Savox. Okay, so let's get into the engines. Now, when you're buying a used engine for your nitro, I've bought new ones, plenty, okay, as you can see. The last used one that I got a really killer deal on, was this one here. This is an Elite 5. This engine runs you about 175 bucks depending on where you get it. Brand new. Now when I got it, it was brand new. And it also came, as you guys remember, or you don't remember, it came with this brand new Novorossi 9901 and 41021, which I think I ran all kinds of pipes. Okay, the only pipe that I haven't ran is a Dynamite 086, and I haven't ran a ERCM bleed. Those are the two pipes that I haven't run. The ERCM bleed, I don't know if I'll ever run one, because as you guys know, they're just not worth the hassle of getting them, if you get them. But anyway, for stock .21s, and I ran this on numerous Reds, OS, Novorossis, P5s, Elites, Vardis, you name it. Okay, the 9901 and the 41021 is the most consistent all across the board power pipe that delivers bottom, mid, and top, all of it. Okay, I love this set combo. This is the combo. If I was gonna race any 21, this is what I would run: 9901 Novorossi with the 41021. Period. End of the story. So that pipe combo is about $100. So this is 175 brand new. I got it brand new. It was, the guy ran a couple tanks through it, barely broken in. Okay. So 175, let's just say 100 on that pipe, so that's 275, okay? I paid $150 for both of them. And it also came with something that's priceless. I've never seen them. I own one, Novorossi pit towel, and something I've never seen and I probably won't ever use, a Novorossi fanny pack. Maybe in Europe they might use these, but here I wouldn't use it. But it's an Novorossi, man. So those are priceless. Who knows what they cost? I don't care. I've got numerous people want to buy them from me. I'll never sell them because they're very rare. I've never seen them before. But I got that for $150. Now, am I bragging because I got a hell of a deal? Hell yeah, I'm bragging. Because there's tons of those deals out there. You just got to look. Now, the questions that I always ask, and like I told you guys before, if you look at the head, this thing, the head is like fresh. Okay? I mean, if you see a head, which this isn't too bad, and the only reason that I have this is because it came free with the Techno. Okay, I got the P5 and this free with that Techno buggy. Okay, this motor is about, like I said, it's the same. These are the same engines. Okay, it's identical. Just this one's an older one. This one's a newer one. Okay, but it's a badass engine. This one has been motor bathed by Adam Drake. Okay, I have the paperwork on it and everything. Now, I have never even ran this engine. Never even fired it up. Okay. But like I said, if I was to, like, if I was buying an engine, this, I wouldn't purchase it. That's just me. I'm very, very, very anal about the condition of heads on engines, because that just tells me that the person that owned it didn't take care of it. So now I always ask them before I buy a used engine, okay, you got to look at the shape of it. I mean, you want to look all around it, check the size. I mean, you'd be surprised. Some engines look so beat up, and these people want all this money. They want to almost reap what they paid for it brand new. I mean, this is the kind of condition you want to look for. I mean, look at this. This thing is brand new. And did you know that this Elite, and I've compared them, this thing is the same as the P5. Pretty much identical. This, like I'm telling you, Novorossi changes a lot of their heads and colors, but it's the same damn 21. A lot of their 21s, except for like the Mitos and the Bonitos and the Virtus and the higher end ones, most of their, like their P5s and their Elites and their Kangaroo and all those, it's the same damn block, same piston, same sleeve, same everything, just different color. So anyway, I always ask them how much fuel's been run through it. If it has more than 2 gallons of fuel through it, I won't buy it. That's just me. If you guys want to buy it, then go ahead. Why? Because 2 gallons it's too much through it to where you don't know how they ran those 2 gallons. I'd rather get something because that way too, if you decide to get it modded, that you still have room to get it modded. Remember, once you get over a gallon of fuel, it's not suggested by any modders that I know, have talked to in the past, to even get it modded. Most modders, including Rick Brake and Lance, okay, both of these guys have told me around a gallon is okay. It's still, you can still get it modded. Okay, they told me that personally. I talked to, in the past when we were talking, I talked to Rick on the phone, because when I sent him that Reds R5 Team Edition, it had a gallon on it, and I wasn't going to send it. And I said, can I send it? It's only got a gallon. He said, long as it's not more than a gallon, it's okay. And Lance told me the same thing. Because remember, the modding has zero to do with the break-in. Okay? The break-in of your engine and the modifications has nothing to do with each other. Which means if you have an engine that's already been broken in, okay, you can send it and get it modded at RCR Renew, and Lance will mod it. And when you get it back, you don't have to break it in again. Okay, all you got to do is just idle a tank of fuel through it, and it's ready to go. Okay, that's what Lance told me. Okay, so anyway, if it's got more than 2 gallons, I'm not buying it. Okay, I keep it under a gallon, condition, look at the head. Also ask them what kind of fuel they ran through it. If they ran Traxxas fuel through it, then at least you know when you get it, you're going to want to tear it down and clean all that crap out of there. But yeah, so on engines, just, you know, how much fuel's ran through it, what kind of condition it's in, okay. Yeah, those are the main things. Price, you know what the thing goes for retail and what they're asking for it. You know, that OS my cousin that I sold him, that I got modded by RCR, that's a badass OS. That thing came with a clutch, came with the works pipe, came with the clutch, came with about, you know, that motor alone was $300 if you bought it brand new. And the pipe, let's just say $80. So we're saying around almost $500 retail, that engine, and it was brand new too. That one was never fired up. I broke in that OS, okay? I paid $150 something for that as well. The Reds R5 Team Edition that I have here, I bought it in the same shape that you see it in. And even look, see, even it's not mint, but see the head on that? That's about border for me. It's faded a little bit, but that's still okay. Any worse than that, I would not have bought it. And this thing I paid about $100. So I've never paid more than $150 for any used .21. Now big blocks are different, but I'm just trying to keep this on a budget. Okay, so for around $100 to $150, you can get a decent used .21 engine. Okay, preferably I would just stick to Italians. Maybe OSs are okay. But OSs don't last as long as it is, so you're going to get an OS, you might as well just get a brand new one. I would never buy a used OS, even though the one that I got, it wasn't used. It was never fired up. It was brand new when I got it. So anyway, yeah. So the electronics, again, there is cheaper electronics, but I do recommend these. I mean, just get. These are decent. They'll last for a long time. The ProTech 100Ts, okay? Spend the $100, get 2 of them, you know. Or if you can't afford it, then try the Savoxes SC0254MGs. But, you know, be careful. You know, they're not the greatest in the world, but, you know, they're not bad for the price. So anyway, I've got a new body coming for the Techno. Haven't decided what I'm going to do as far as the paint scheme. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I just wanted to kind of touch on that. Like I said, it's funny how people want to make comments about, you know, certain things, and they don't even own them. They don't even own it. Okay, so my suggestion is if all you do is have 21s, save your pennies, work some overtime, get an over OC 28.8 Rex Legend, run it stock, get a feel for it, and, you know, later get it modded. Or if you've been doing 8-scale nitro and been dealing with sealed back engines for at least a year, I mean, I did, what, 2 years before I even got a modded engine. At least. I think it was about 2 years before I even got a modded engine, you know. And people were trying to talk me into it way before then. And not that I was never, you know, I wasn't ready for it. I wanted to get more experience with running a good quality 28.8, which Novorossi's were, you know, and are my favorite. But there's not a lot of other 28s. See, the Picos are the only other 28s out there. I mean, you know, I heard people, Alphas, you know, Alphas, they're garbage. I mean, you know, Lance used to work for Alpha. I think I mentioned this before. Ryan Lutz, that is the one that was the big, you know, Alpha guy, if you want to say that. He never even ran their internals, okay? He ran Novorossi internals in there because he knew the Alpha internals were garbage, and they wouldn't last. They'd blow up. So I thought that was kind of crazy when I heard that. Again, I heard that from somebody that knew him personally and, you know, a reputable, you know, resource. So anyway, I think that's about it. Oh, now I wanted to show this before I end the video. Now this was something that somebody, well, you can see who wrote it, okay? And it makes perfectly good sense, okay? It says, "What's up, Muggy? I just want to wish you and your family a Merry Christmas and a happy and healthy Nitro Brappy New Year. I hope everyone in the new year comes together and got each other's back, from the haters to the brothers. Never let haters get to you, bro. Just appreciate them because they're your most loyal viewers. They're the best to have, and thumbs down or up counts a lot better than nothing at all. Everyone's got their flaws, including myself, but a new year is coming, so we all must try again to have each other's back, especially in this dying hobby we love, or until someone F's up, and then we must move on." So, obviously. Yeah, you know, I have nothing against him. It's just a shame that, you know, we had to result in what we had to result in, and you know, maybe someday we could get along. I don't hate him. I don't hate anybody. I think it's a strong word. Oh, I had some pictures for you guys because I know a lot of people are excited about this. I'm excited for TLR guys. You know, I'm not a TLR hater. Okay, I never have been. Okay, I have nothing against TLR. By the way, that is, I don't know what the name of it is, but that's a J Concepts body. How do you know? Because that's J Concepts signature right there. Okay, that's the new TLR. I guess that's going to be their body. Similar to that, the Techno, if you guys look at it, you know the Techno is similar to what they call the Bulldog, because the front of it looks like a Bulldog. This is more squared. This looks more like my Enforcer body kind of up there, but it's a J Concept. So, I'm excited for Losi guys, you know what I mean, because the Losi guys have been waiting for this for a long time. By the way, that is a badass engine right there. If I ever did get a .21, another OS, it would be a Testman. Not a Drake, yeah, everybody, Testman. One of those Testmans, modded, it'd be sick. But as you can see, it looks pretty much like the X, buggy, just longer arms. Remember, there's the only difference between the buggy and the truggy is the arm length and the chassis length. That's it. It looks identical. You can even see, it looks like the Elite buggy, but the truggy, because it's got the upgraded carbon fiber centerpiece that holds the diff, center diff, and the servo together. So, I mean, it looks, I mean, they changed the shock towers as far as they're using the X shock towers, just obviously probably designed for a truggy. So now here I want you guys to, this is somebody sent me this. This is pretty cool. So anyway, that's for your TLR guys. So I'm excited for TLR guys. I'm not a TLR guy. Like I said, I have nothing against them. Yes, I said they are, the dynasty is dead, and that's true. I mean, I didn't make, you know, that's the truth. So anyway, Listen to this, and I'll leave you guys with this.
I just want to let you know, you're awesome. You are awesome. Yes. Completely, most utterly, to the fullest, awesome.
Paired.
I love you. Keep doing what you
Maximum volume.
love you. He loves you. You're awesome. So, this is the awesome challenge. What it is, I challenge you to send this to everybody that is awesome. And just let them know they're awesome. Because what it is people don't tell people enough that they're awesome, that they're loved, that Jesus loves them, and that they mean something in this world. So, just take a little bit of time. All you have to do, you can just share this, share it on your wall, whatever you like. Just make sure you let people know they're awesome. That they're loved, and then God's got this. Amen. Have a good day.
That was cool, man. One of my subscribers sent that to me. But yeah, I mean, you guys are awesome, man. I'm turning a new leaf, and I'm not dealing with all that drama and all that stuff. We're just keeping this nitro, learning, keeping it fun, and, well, let's move on. So anyway, that's all I got. That's an hour of your time. I will catch you guys on the rebound. And remember, at the end of the day, no matter what happens, as long as you gave it 100% and you learned something, you got ahead that day. All right, people? So whatever makes you happy, do it to the best of your ability. Muggy's out. Peace.